What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
Here's the juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give 'em wings, we red dot 'em. Candy rappers, send 'em in, we red hot 'em. Headshot 'em, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like wide meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a reason.
Shalom.
To say Edatov and Shabbat Shalom to the Israelites that are currently residing in Dimona, Israel. And I like to say Edatov and Shabbat Shalom to all the scattered Israelites throughout the nations. My name is Alan C., and I have next to me my brother and comrade and moray, True Timothy. We are God of the Yahweh only, DOA podcast, coming to you live on day 7.
Nice. As you can see, the topic in-game recap. Literally just a closing of the Heathen's New Year, Old Year, however you want to call it. Bringing in some new things upcoming we'll talk about. Like I said, recap a few things. And our brother want to come on, maybe not so much challenge you because he didn't got beat up so much by you, but he might want to challenge or call out someone else. Like I said, I give him the floor if he got the balls, you know. He might not even show up.
Right.
You never know.
Definitely no challenge.
But other than that, I mean, not much been going on really this week, really, besides the I guess the big pagan holiday that just passed.
Oh my God.
Which was quite, I would say, quite useful of a day to have off for me at least.
Right.
I don't know about you. I think you was out probably the whole week, right?
Well, I'm still out. I don't go back. I think it's the 6th, or I think it's maybe the 4th. I'm not sure because what happens, I work for the school system, and we're out. I've been out since last Friday, and we usually don't come back to a couple of days in January. So I'm still out, and you know.
Still lucky you. I mean, I probably took off the day after, you know, which would have been, I guess, Thursday, or probably next week, since they have another one of their heathen days. I'll probably take off again. But I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? I don't consider it a holy day or anything, but hey, free day off, ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I tell you, I was just listening to the social news, and it seems to me that the country is not only being run by Donald Trump, being run by Elon Musk.
I've been seeing a couple of things with that, especially with Elon Musk. What I see him? His last thing he said something, and
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know what he's trying to do. He's trying to promote X, that's
hmm
only known as Twitter. So everything he says is used echoed on the X network.
hmm
Like I said, him and Trump are in cahoots, and we have a lot of things going to go on in 2025. So people, yeah,
Well, we're definitely going to see a new set of agendas coming out. I'm gonna tell you that much. I don't
right,
know whether they're good or bad, but we're definitely going to see some changes in certain things. The agenda that comes and goes when a new president comes in usually tells you how the term is going to be. But like you said, you're seeing some head ups. Elon Musk this, Elon Musk that. Which
right.
hey, we gonna see. We gonna see.
Oh yeah,
You know, we
and
gonna see. And
I know
uh,
there was some mentioning of him saying shutting down the government.
mhm.
So I don't know how true that is. You know, isn't he
Well,
supposed?
I've seen something recently with him that he was saying something about, which was kind of puzzling to me. And I thought it wasn't him at first, but then he was on the actual, I guess, advertisement for it. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Right. I'm
What
looking at
you talking about?
New York Times. Now this was December 19th, and it said world's richest man. Uh, wait a minute. World's richest man. Oh, I lost the article. Um, why has Elon Musk been pushing for government shutdown? The world richest man bipartisan spending deal in part by promoting false and misleading claims.
hmm
There's a lot of information on Elon Musk as far as things that he's supposed to be doing with Donald Trump.
hmm
So why has Elon Musk been pushing for government shutdown? Uh, he got very, very involved, including on X, where he shares dozens and dozens of posts about it, and there are lots of questions. So, I mean, w- why would you do this? You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of the things are shutting down. We need, as far as our mail, transportation. Um,
Yeah, that's it. That's what I seen. That's what I was saying. He released a video about saying Jesus was a black man.
who
Elon Musk.
really?
hmm
He also released a video that says Jesus was a black man. He is making it there. Is
I didn't look at it though, but I seen it. That's what I was saying. I seen something that he
right.
did.
You know, it's so funny that these political bigwigs are now trying to involve religion in their.
hmm
A lot of them, once upon a time, well, more or less, I'm not gonna say all of them, a lot of them were atheists. They didn't.
hmm
Now we have some that are coming out saying, Yeshua and Yeshua this and Yeshua that. You can't pay me to believe that Donald Trump believes in anything. He was in office, he had the Bible upside down and didn't realize it. And
yeah. Typical Trump move.
you cannot get me to believe that this man has any type of belief system. What happens is when you become a president, you must show some type of family gathering. You have to go to this particular church set out, whether you're a Christian or not,
hmm
because it's based on family values. Um, Everyone that knows Barack Obama before he became a president was a Muslim. He never.
Hmm.
You go back, flashbacks on YouTube, and look at some of his earlier speeches. He's quoting the Quran.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Now,
like you said, spot on spot. A lot of it is, I guess, they try to fit that in with their term agenda. You know what I'm saying? I guess grab a hold of the masses at that particular moment and try to feed off of them, and then work from there. Hopefully, I guess get I guess some type of what do you call it, a roadway, a path. You know what I'm saying? So that they
right.
can show what their true agenda is.
But like I said, when you are president, I believe that it is set up where, you have to go to church. They take, they take photographs of you going to the church, and you have to promote Christianity because not that this is built, but they promote that, and because this country was not built on Catholicism.
Hmm.
Christianity, the first form of Christianity was the Catholic belief back in the first century. But that's besides the point. They promote Christianity, and we all know, those who know Obama, as far as reading his background, he was a Muslim.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just basically for Trump, or even this Elon Musk, to say that Jesus was a man of color. Those who believe in that belief, they're going to agree with you. So that's,
Hmm.
you know,
You say shalom to Sister Jacqueline E. Buggs. She's in the house. She said, Yah gave them their own God, though it was an idol. Trump knew we were Israel because of what Hitler shared. I agree kind of with that. We can quote different things because once you read something, it's part of your fuel. That's exactly correct. You know?
Shalom, Sister Bugs, Jacqueline. Do you remember that Yah said that Yah gave Ethiopian a sacrifice for Israel? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. My thing is, um, I don't go by, because the government classifies as color, like black people, and I tell people all the time at my job, or if I'm speaking to somebody, whether it's on social media or just inbox, that there is no such nationality as black.
Right.
It's not a nationality. You are part of a nation, and don't come and say, "Oh, I'm part of the black nation." Black, a social construct. Okay, Indians are dark or black. Hispanics are black.
Hmm.
And that is not a nationality. That is just a term of endearment, as far as, like I said, a racial classification that came about through anthropologists that work for the government.
Hmm.
For those, and when in directive number 15, all of the viewers and people that are in the gallery, you, like I said, you Google directive number, and it will come up that racial classifications were adopted in
Directive. What's the directive again? Let me see if I
direct
can find
directive number 15, and it will come up, and it will show you that classifications that were given to us were adopted in 1977.
it.
Okay,
Let me see if we put it on the screen real quick.
cut up. And what you will run into is OMB directive, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. It says race and ethnic standards for federal statistics and administration reporting. Then you will see Office of Management and Budget, Directive number 15, race
Hmm.
and standards for federal statistics and administrative reporting, as adopted on May 12th, 1977. And it says, This directive provides standard classifications for record keeping, collection, and presentation of data on race and ethnicity and federal program administrative reporting and statistical activities. These classifications should not be interpreted as being scientific or anthropological in nature, nor should they be viewed as determinants of eligibility for participation in any federal program. They have been developed. Notice they're telling they have been
Hmm.
developed in response to needs expressed by both the executive board and Congress to provide the collection use of capable, non-duplicated, exchangeable, racial, and ethnic data by federal agencies. So what they're basically saying in a nutshell, we have to classify you Negroes and adopted on May 12, 1977. It says the basic racial and ethnic categories for federal statistics and program administrative reporting are defined as follows. A, American Indian or Alaskan Native, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North America who maintains cultural identification through tribal affiliation. B, Asian or Pacific Islander. I'm not going to read the whole definition. I'm just giving you the name. Oh, C, Black, a
Hmm.
Black racial group of Africa. D, Hispanic, a person of Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban. E, White, a person having origin in the original peoples of, look at this, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East.
Hmm.
Goes further, but I don't want to read all this off. But it's like I said, you put in directive, the hashtag number 15,
Hmm.
and up CDC Wonder, which is Center for Disease and Prevention. This is
Just the fact that they keeping, like you said, record keeping already is telling you that the eyeballs is on, you know, what's going on in the melanated. You know what I'm saying?
right. When I go for a job, well, I haven't gone for a job now in about a decade because I've been on the same job for a decade. But if I were to ever leave my job and I had to fill an application and they asked me what I am, I'm going to put other.
Yeah, that's what I would put too. Put
I'm
down other, or either, I don't even want to disclose that information, to be
right.
honest with you, because I don't think it's really none of their business, outside of the fact that am I legal, to work. That's about it. But other than that, they don't need to. You know what I mean? They ain't giving you anything. They gaining, to be
Right.
quite honest.
Bias because if I say I'm black, then you're going to say, oh, you're going to look at me different. You're going to judge me. You're going to put me in a box in a category.
Hmm.
Rather just put others. So you look at my records as far as what I've done in school, educational wise, my job, past performances, and I would rather you, because they're gonna do it, judge me on that. So, you know. Shout out to Nisha Washington. And I say shout out to Nisha Washington. I don't know her. Yeah, I try to avoid the sense well, Jacqueline. I was having a conversation with Mrs. Nisha Washington. This was yesterday.
Hmm.
Regular conversation to a righteous conversation. And what happened was, um, there was a picture of a young lady. The young lady had her whole gluteus maximus out, her backside, had on a cat suit. She had a cat like hat or something on her head that looked resembled that of a cat with the cat ears.
Hmm.
And on the caption, I only date to marry. So, of
With all that hanging out, right?
everybody in the everybody in the chat was just dragging her.
Mm.
And so Mrs. Washington says, you never know, you don't judge a person um buy their clothing, and you guys are not right. I said, listen, I said, Nisha, we all judge, whether we judge
Mm-hmm.
aloud, which is among our peers, or we judge from within, where we think it, but we don't say it. I said,
Mm-hmm.
but when we judge, we're supposed to give a fair judgment,
Mm-hmm.
because it says in Leviticus 19, you should do no injustice in judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness you should judge your neighbor. So you can
Mm-hmm.
judge righteous judgment. And that's what I basically told her. So it went from that, you know, to what I just said. And we were talking, and then she goes in. I'm assuming she is some form of Christian because she started quoting out of, and they love to quote out of Corinthians or the New Testament. So I automatically say, okay, she must be a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nothing. I want to say to our viewers or those in the gallery, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian. I don't. It's gonna sound funny coming from me, but I don't bash Christians. Everything I do is for educational purposes and edification. I can't speak for others. I can speak for my brother and my more, true, but we're not bashing when we are talking about Christians. The reason why we do what we do is to edify those who are part of the Christian set, because when you follow the New Testament, the New Testament is designed for you to pray in the name of Yeshua.
Mm-hmm.
What or not, viewers and those in the gallery, if you're a Christian or Messianic, one of the commandments says you should other deity before me or beside me,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to worship no other deity. So if you're praying in the name of Yeshua, that means you're basically praying to another deity to get to another deity.
Exactly.
Christians don't know this because I was talking to a family member a couple of days ago, and they were like, so and so. I said, well, I said, I consider myself a Hebrew. And I said, I don't really subscribe to the New Testament because that book promotes praying to Jesus or praying in his name. And I said, you're only supposed to pray in the name of Yahweh. She says, well, you're right, but I pray to Jesus.
Well, you got to remember that's all that they know, and it's not like one day they're not gonna, say like you just said. They admitted it and still say they're gonna pray to Jesus, which is just fine. But like I said to you too, I don't really care too much about bashing the Christians really anymore because, to be honest with you, it's sickness, and when people are sick, you gotta kind of like, take account for what could you do to help them. You know what I mean? I mean, like you said, I don't subscribe to the New Testament, and you do like you do. I'll let them know I don't subscribe to the New Testament, but I will tell them that anything that they utilize outside of the New Testament, as far as like the Hebrew scrolls, I let them know that the JC narrative is not in that. So, it would behoove them to actually take a read. Sometimes take a read of the original text, or what you call it, Christians call it the Old Testament. Start from scratch, from ground up, and then season themselves so they can have an understanding of why, like brothers like you, me, and a few of us don't subscribe to the JC, and that would be the reason why we don't subscribe to the New Testament, because that's the only path for him that they get is through the New Testament. You know what I mean? That's how I deal with it.
Um,
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. I'm gonna read some. I'm not gonna show it, but this was very interesting. You know, and had a little conversation with brother Hard Jarv. He hit me up in the inbox. You know what I mean? He says, and you listen to it closely, and you'll hear how I responded to his question, what he statement he said. It says first, niggas trusting the white man, James Strong, and going with his interpretation of Torah.
Right.
Second, they trust in the white man who got together and invented the Hebrew language, and he gives it 1300 and 1400 BCE to call our power by a name that's not his. Then he says, let me ask this true. If the New Testament is a fictional book, which I believe, he believes it's a fictional book, how can we trust James Strong, who tells us the book is real and who also was a Methodist preacher who also used his work, the Strong Concordance, to defend Christianity? And he says any Israelites using this man's work in a debate should lose off the back. All right. This is what I responded to him and said. It says also to add, also, anyone using a Bible version that was not written by a black man, so-called Hebrew, should lose as well as any person that pushes other doctrine not directly written of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
He wants to handicap. I get that. Like if you having a debate coming up, or when you want to try to set the premise of the debate, and you say such and such like that, I would, if the other party would agree to not use James Strong, fine. I have no problem with it. But to actually try to handicap something because you know that it's going to push you against the wall and you're not going to be able to defend yourself, guess what? That's on you. You lose automatically because you can't defend yourself. Like
Right.
me and you, we have used James Strong, but we don't use it to support Christianity as he stated, because I
Right.
never really read anything where it says he supports Christianity. Because if you know, and I know that when you read in the concordance, it has sections in there. You have the Hebrew section, right?
Correct.
And then
Right.
you have the Greek section. I guess the Greek section would you could say the equivalent for the Christianity side. But you notice they're separated. There's
Right.
nothing that you and I could even turn around and say, well, he's wrong on this or such and such. And I would tell, like, for the Hard Jarv too, if you feel that something that James Strong is saying in there that is not correct, then bring that out. But don't try
Right.
to handicap someone who's debating tactic. Our tactic is to use that to back up something that they're talking about. Because, like I said, if you want to play that game, you might as well, show me a book or a Bible version that a black man has written. You get what I'm saying? Or so-called
Right.
Hebrew has written. And if that be the case, you can stay with that. Then I grant you that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I said, if the other person he's debating wants to agree with that, fine. I have no problem with it. But I highly doubt that anybody would take such a type of a handicap like that, because it's really, to me, it's a cop out. You know what I'm saying? Let me
Well,
see what you have to say on it. I mean, we all know Jarvis is very weak when it comes down to
right.
debates anyway.
First of all, this is a tactic. This is like me saying, "Hey, Jarvis, don't buy any cars that's not created by a black man, or don't live in any home that's not built by a black man." This is using for himself to give himself the edge. It's
Mhm,
juvenile. It's silly, and it's something that no one's going to agree to. Um, as far as having a black uh, Bible or Torah, I happen to have one. I have a
mhm,
Torah that's written or presented and done over by a black woman. She was selling it on internet several years ago, and I happened to pick it up. And it's just the Torah, and it has
mhm.
a lot, and it's considered to be a Torah, the first books. But the thing is, you know, what he's doing is something to help himself.
Mhm.
For him to say the white man is the cause, why should we trust the right? You're trusting the white man. You work for the white man, don't you? Here's the difference between me and Mr. Jarvis or Mr. Anderson. I don't care who you work for, but you work for the white man. Okay, so that solves that problem. You work for the white man. Your car Mercedes Benz was manufactured by Germans who were white.
Mm-hmm.
Your home was probably built by a white man. You see how I sound?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this is how he sound. And I'm not saying it with any malice because I have nothing personal against Jarvis. I think Jarvis is a very intelligent person when he chooses to be.
Mm-hmm.
But pick and choose how you want a debate to be. You know, and I know that the Torah was originally compiled by Hebrew Israelites,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
throughout the centuries, it has been represented or repackaged by those who are not
Mm-hmm.
colored people, or as they would say in a professional settings, Negroids. But it is the same information that was first compiled, but presented now in a book form.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows this. But like I said, Mr. Anderson is looking for the edge. Uh,
Peep
in his,
this. Peep this. Peep this. I told him I would give him, I call it 15 minutes of funk. I give him the link. He want to come on. And I said he wants to, I guess, call out, one of our, DOA members. I say you're welcome to it. I give you 15 minutes of funk to do that. And we would just, listen and entertain for that time frame. I mean, he has the link. Its time is already passed. I don't think he's gonna show up anyway. But the fact that you know what, he's a funny character, very funny. Check this out. He says in response to that, which he did respond, but he kind of changed the subject. He says,
hmm,
"I feel as well as others. If something predates another by thousands of years, it should rule, and the other should be labeled plagiarism." I
hmm,
said to myself, why is he even changing his speed of things? I guess you know why, because he wants to run into his you know, the Sumerian crap.
hmm,
But this is what I said. I said, what about when one does not have to do with the other? And all the info used to show dating was established by a white
hmm,
man. I hit him back with his own shit, instead of me having to, take out my own shit and throw it at him. I threw his own shit back. He says, that's a good point. However, that's when we rely on archaeological study.
right,
You used it many times in trying to prove your claim in Africa is the homeland. If this was a court, I would bring up these facts against you. I said to him, it's very easy to accuse literary theft. I'm trying to explain to him what plagiarism is. All right.
right,
It's it's easy to accuse someone of literary theft, but very hard to prove without literary evidence. You get what I'm saying? In other
right.
words, you could tell me that such and such was written in such and such time, and I could turn around and say, well, show me. Where's the date on it? And he's stuck. He's dead in the water. If we want to play that game. But he's smooth. We want to pick archaeology. I guess that's his new, go-to thing that he thinks going to trump, I guess, when we use James Strong. But I try to tell him, that's not the only concordance that we could use. We can use like Crude's concordance. We can use other people's concordance. It really doesn't matter. You know,
Right.
it's not what we're using. It's up to him to what you call to show me where it's wrong at. You get
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean?
For
And I
me,
said no one can say with absolute anything. You got to remember that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody can turn around and say such and such is grounded and made in this particular year, like I said, they can't prove it. You can't give an absolute date on anything. I
no.
don't care what kind of technique they use or what you call it, carbon dating and all this and that. Because guess what? If you come up with something that's fragmentary to me, you don't have it complete. So if you don't have something complete, well, what are you gonna do? Fill in the gaps with bullshit? It's not gonna work.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen. If he finds somebody that abides by his particular ruling, then hey, y'all bless. But I mean, the last time Mr. Anderson and I had a debate, it was discussed with him and I that this would be the last debate that we would be doing, because I have debated Mr. Anderson on that particular live. I've debated him on the inbox. I've debated him on the wall, on social media, as far as, several times. And for myself, it's nothing personal, but I don't want to debate somebody that I feel I can't gain nothing from in knowledge.
Hmm.
I want to debate some. I want somebody to debate me, if I chose to debate, that knows more than me or has something to bring, and he doesn't really have anything to bring.
Yeah, you want somebody that can give you like a little tiny inclination of a threat, like
Right,
as if he's gonna, show you something that you don't already know. And I get that, and you have every right to, as many times as you debated him. And I told him that I said, you're not gonna be really able to call out Allen, or such and such, because he's not going to take it, and then you're not going to be able to turn around and say, well, he's scared, because the man has debated you several times and took whatever you had and dissipated it. That's what I told him. Then this is what else he says. He says, and this is where I made it funny on him. He says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Then he says, what do you say? 6 days thou should labor and whatever. The
right,
point was, he was trying to say that God, in his word, the Most High, created the earth, or the world out of his mouth. He said, created the world on the sixth day, or in 6 days, etc., etc. And I turn around and says, well, it doesn't actually show nowhere in the scriptures that he created the earth in 6 days. It
right,
may have said what he had done within 6 days. He
right,
might have created the earth in the heaven, like day one, day two, day three. That's not 6 days, my brother. So,
right,
the problem, which the problem with him is, when he's trying to debate guys like us, we gonna scrutinize every ounce of the words that comes out of his mouth, and we're going to question it. And when we see that he's not sharp on it, that's when we go in for the kill. I mean, that's with anybody on that DAOA squad. They're going to destroy guys that don't have their shit together. And he can't get upset with the way, especially like how you destroy him. And I told him, okay, you're not going to get a challenge out of Allen. Maybe you want to challenge like brother Ben, if he would take a chance at it, or challenge brother Emerson. You know what I'm saying? I said they're all open for challenges. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, they're DOA, and they're not going to be easy street. So no matter what, you need to have your act together.
correct.
And then obviously, his whole basis, he wants to talk about these whole Sumerian pantheon of gods, which I have no problem with that, because when he starts talking about that, I'm going to show him that one don't have nothing to do with none of the Hebrews. Now, in
Right,
the scriptures, even in the scriptures, there's a little secret, what you call connection between, like, say, the land of Shinar, which is pre-Babylon,
hmm,
and you know the temple, which has been the Tower of Babel and all that stuff, etc., etc. But then it's gonna kill him when you read that whole particular chapter, because that chapter is gonna show and tell that there has no connection whatsoever to the Hebrew, to the whole heritage. But obviously, he's not gonna be open to take on somebody like me with this anyway. But
no,
I would love for him to take on, and this is what he says. He says, I'm going to probably throw some type of answers to the DOA guys. I said, not really. I never threw any answers to you when you was debating him. There would be no need to. That would be an insult if I was to throw an answer to you to debate Jarvis. Like, you really need any help to debate Jarvis?
No,
Please.
no.
And I don't think any other of the DOA guys would need any answers thrown at them. They would look at him as, dude, are you really ready with the sources that you're gonna pull? The sources that you're gonna come with? Are you really ready?
Well, the thing,
Here he is right
so
now.
What's
Another
going on?
hard job.
I gotta let my phone lay down flat because it's charging. It's about to go
Mm-hmm.
dead. It's on
Mm-hmm.
the charger.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
I was
Shalom.
waiting for you, to come on. You have a little call out or something you would like to say?
Um,
I actually was
who's
discussing
all
what we was
who's
talking
all
about earlier.
in? Who's all
Hmm.
in? Allen, Emerson. Who else?
Oh,
And
Emerson's
you
not
want
here as
to
of.
you want to call out Brother Vicar Emerson? You can call him out. I mean, I'm
Uh,
sure he would respond. I mean, it depends on the matter. Our brother Ben is not on tonight, so
uh, I, I,
you won't be
I'm
able to
I'm
call him
I'm
out.
ready to
You
go.
already know that you have a baseless chance at calling out Allen. I mean,
I'm
I'm
ready to.
always available if you want to call me out.
I want the head.
You want me?
Yeah, I want the head.
Well, I'm always available. What is what is your subject? I mean, I would be saying to myself, this is like literally suicide for you. But what would be your matter?
I don't have a subject tonight. It's just a lot of stuff going on. You bring up a subject and I respond to the subject. But I do have something from a while back ago addressing to Alan. Uh, I remember Alan. He was saying that uh um how the power of Israel made man and woman first in the spiritual realm, and then he made them in the physical realm. Uh, that's because it appears that way if you don't know the facts, what's going on. And the facts of what's going on is that it's four different authors of the Torah, and it's four. That's why you have so many different numbers and different
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Since you
uh
said that statement right there, that statement particularly right there. There's four different authors of the Torah. This is what you're saying, and you basing that off of
uh, of 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 scholars. Then I could base it off scripture. How many
well,
days? Okay, let me
if
ask
you're
you a
basing
question.
it off of you said scholars, you said.
Of scholars, it's the J source. You got the E source. You got the P source. You know, and these are all authors of the Torah. Uh, Let me ask you a question. Let me show you this. In the story of Noah, how many days and nights did it rain?
Well, I would have to go with what the scriptures is saying, but you got
But
to
what, what,
remember
what what does the scripture say? How many days and nights
40
did it
days and
rain?
40 nights. But let me say
Okay,
something
so what if I could show
before you
you
get all
this?
rattled up. When
What
it
what
comes
what?
down to
Hold on, True.
chapters,
Hold on, True. You asked
go
you
ahead.
answered the question. You gave me your answer. You said 40 days and 40 nights. So what happens when I go to
If that's
Torah?
what it says,
Well, all right. So what happens when I go to Torah and show you that it rained more days and more nights? Then what? Is
I
it
would
is
say
it?
what I was getting ready to say before.
But
Before
wait,
you,
Let me ask you: Did it rain 40 days and 40 nights in the spiritual realm, and then it came back and rained this amount of days in the physical realm, or is it two different people telling their story?
well, that's why I would like to say something to you so that
Go
you can
ahead.
not get all riled up with the run and go, and
Okay,
you,
go
you might
ahead.
not be going too far because guess
Explain that.
what?
Explain that.
Like I just said, you want me to explain it? The first off the bat, right? And you hearing this from the horse's mouth. I know for a fact, all right, that from chapters 1 through chapter 10, there are all little uh, parables and different persuasions involved in how that was written to begin with. So if you taking any of those stories like as fact or absolute truth, that's where you're gravely mistaken at. That's where the problem begins. Now, I understand you wants to, like, I guess, validate or devalidate something that's written in there, and you have every right to. And I would not even really pretty much question what the things are that you're trying to invalidate, because guess what? It serves me personally no purpose, because I don't live by Genesis chapter 1 through 10 as complete absolute. You get what I'm
Mm,
saying?
I understand.
And
So,
a lot of people do live by that. You know, one of my other morays on here, brother Eric, I think he had made a post recently about, you know, and I think I was on it and Alan was on it, where a lot of people take things literal too much in that book,
Right.
when that's not, you know, absolute literal. Now it's good to debate topics that may seem to be, well, this says this and this says that. But if you're going to use scripture to debate scripture, the scripture is going to win all the time. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Now, if you're going to take outside manuscripts and sources, you know, like I said, Brother Vacar is on here. If you know, want to call
but
him out on it,
how can scripture win all the time when you said 40 days, and then in another place in Genesis it says another number? So who wins right there?
well, that's where I just, if you think about my answer, if you
Right.
took Genesis
You
chapter
said
1 through
chapters 1
10,
through
right?
10.
If you
Right.
take
You
1
said
through
chapters 1
10
through
and you notice that 1 through 10 is not considered
Okay,
literal to me. So
so
when
let
you
me ask
find
you
the other
this.
spot where it's saying something, guess what? That's a point where you can actually validate something.
Okay, so
You know what I'm
all
saying?
right, so listen. So I can
And I'm sure you
it's
learned something by me stating that. But go ahead.
is it safe for me to say that since you don't take chapters 1 through 10 literally in Genesis, is it safe for me to say that you don't literally believe that the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob created the heavens and the earth and created
Wait,
man and
You got
all
to
these
repeat
things that
that.
was
I
done?
didn't kind of hear that. Repeat that again.
uh, all these things that was done in chapter 1 through 10 of Genesis, the prophets reiterated it later in their books. That's where they get that the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob created the heavens and the earth. They get it from Torah because they had Torah. So
Who has Torah?
the prophets had Torah.
Right. Well, which
Isaiah,
particular
Isaiah had
prophet are
Torah.
you referring to?
For one, Isaiah had Torah.
No
Torah,
doubt. But I'm saying, what are
right.
you saying about
So
Isaiah that he's saying that
well,
distinguishes something different?
Isaiah speaks of only one God. Isaiah speaks of uh, uh, the God that created the heavens and the earth. Isaiah
Right.
speaks of that the God don't know no other God but Him, and all
Hmm.
this is from Genesis 1 through 10. So if you don't believe or take 1 through 10 literally, is it safe to say that you don't believe or take literally that the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob created heaven and earth?
That's the question that you asking me about the word believe. Not one time in my mouth came out anything about I disbelieve
But
any of it. I said
this
taken
is the
as literal.
foundation. This is the foundation of who created heaven and earth. It's Genesis 1 through 10. This is the
That is
foundation of it.
correct. That is the foundation. But when you asking me, is it safe to say that I don't believe? That's something different. That one time out of my mouth that I say I don't believe Genesis 1 through 10 ain't real. Did you hear me say that, Brother Allen, Brother Vicar?
No, sir, and shalom, elders.
oh,
Respect
Hmm.
to the panel.
Hmm. See, the problem,
Okay.
hard job
So
is
tell me,
you assuming by a person's statement that they're saying something in a way, and you're taking it literal. But go ahead.
well, 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 I'm going, hello?
we're still here, brother.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, my phone is acting up. I'm going on what you said. with Noah. You know, the story of Noah. You said it rained 40 days. I said it rained more days. And you said that you don't take chapters 1 through 10 literally.
I
So if
really
you don't
don't,
take,
because to
so
me
if,
it's not
so
really much that I could say out of those chapters, right? That should be the ending of the Hebrew, what you call saga of the story. That's why I have to let you know it that way. But
let, let, let me let,
if
let
you
me go
if you
out. Let me
yeah,
go
go out
out
and
and
come
come
back
back
in.
in. Yes.
Hmm.
All right.
Uh, what I want to
Well,
ask him,
hold on. Well, it's better now.
chapter
But
I
go
one.
think maybe. I
if you
think
want to
maybe
go out and
because
come
of.
back in, go out and come back in. Maybe it'll help
All
your
right. All
signal.
right.
Was Brother True?
Hmm.
Was he talking about chapter? Was he talking about Better Sheet chapter 1 verses 1 through 10?
No, no. I think he's talking when he's talking about the Noah thing. I think he's talking about like chapter 6 and something like that, 7, stuff like that.
I
But
wanted to.
like I said, if it is written in there that it says it rained 40 days and 40 nights, I mean the burden of proof he would have to show somewhere else outside of Torah, right? That that the information that they're talking from, right, is coming
Right,
from a validated point. And he doesn't realize that if we want to go that route, then I would have to say he doesn't know that obviously the scriptures, right, have been revamped. When I say revamped, it doesn't mean that it's not no longer valid. Meaning
right,
revamped for the fact of it is that they were lost, right, from the
right,
time frame of Moses into the time frame once again where Ezra, okay,
right,
did the best he could. See how I'm saying that? Did the best he could to give us back the Hebrew scrolls the best he could.
right.
So there's always going to be room for some form of fashion of error.
What I want to ask Brother Jarvis, he said something about 4 different authors of the Torah.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck on that because I really wanted to know where did he get that
Yeah,
information
yeah.
and what are the four and why I limited it
It's
to four.
that's
And that if
that's.
you look at
Hold
it
on.
logically, it would be more
Hold
than
on.
four.
That's. Hold on. Let me explain it to you. That's why I said we have scholars that's
Right,
that's that's confessing this, and then not only with the scholars, we have more than one, more than two, more than three accounts in Genesis that's telling the same thing in a different way. Just like
But are
I
you saying
know
that's more than four different authors of Genesis? Or are you saying more than four different authors? I mean, are you saying there's only four authors of the entire Torah?
of the entire Tanakh. It's four different writers.
well, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
um, who do you think wrote the Torah?
Hold on. I'm getting that information for you right now.
Okay, and when you do, can does it say it in the Torah, or you're going to go
Here, here.
outside?
Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you what scholars are saying, and then
Okay,
and then
Scholars
and
do
then
have
I'm
names. Name some of these scholars
listen,
so we can check them out.
listen. I'm gonna tell you this what scholars are saying, and
right,
then I'm gonna prove it to you through the scripture.
right, and I'm going to
Okay.
show.
All right. So what scholars are saying is
Hold on,
that we
no,
have four sources. That
this is the
we
problem
have the
you and
J source, we have the E source, we have the
okay,
D source, and we have the
right,
P source.
okay. Show me in scripture where it says there's 4 different authors, and I can
I
show you
could
in scripture.
I could show you in scripture where
Right.
the same thing has been repeated, and but you're gonna say it was first done in the spiritual because you adding spiritual, you adding your own interpretation to the word.
Listen, am I going to have to silence you so I can talk? We can all talk. Let's talk one at a time. Let's be professional. I know you're not professional, but first of all, I don't remember saying what you said. That's number one. Number two,
Okay, okay.
I
So all right. So let me ask you this: when it says that God made Adam and Eve, and then
We're
he
not,
comes back in the next verse and say he made Adam and Eve again. Did he make them twice?
what
Where are
go
you getting this from? This is the question.
what verse you at? So I can what verse you at?
I'm not at a verse, and
Oh, okay.
you know that I don't have the Bible in front of me.
So
What
it's
what I
not
what
really
I
good.
do
It's not
know.
really good to paraphrase. You know,
No, I'm not
we
paraphrasing.
No,
Hold on. Let me go to it. Let me go to
no.
it. Go ahead. Let me go
Let me
to it.
turn my camera on. Let me show you something. See this? This says Hebrew or Hebraic Roots Bible. Show me your Bible and your scripture. I don't want to
No,
paraphrase.
it's this don't
There's
matter what Bible is coming out of. I could show you in your Bible that it's two accounts of Adam and two accounts of man being made. It's two
but
accounts of the flood.
what
show
It's
verses are you using to come up with this concept?
let me
show
find it. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm gonna get it to you right now. Hold on.
you're
Yeah, I
talking.
hate to say it, but that's like a misinterpretation of what you're reading and
Thank
reading it
you.
wrong.
Thank you.
No,
Okay.
I'm not reading it wrong.
So listen,
That's because y'all don't understand it. So
I'm
when something new comes your way and y'all can't grasp it, then you think
no
that the next person
No,
is
it's not
wrong.
really new. I've seen plenty and plethora of debates over that topic, and I
So
considered it
Alan, so
stupid.
Alan,
And
so Alan,
at the end of the
I,
day,
I
you find out that the
hold on.
person
I
is
could
actually misunderstanding what he's reading. That's the
well,
problem.
you know the best thing about your channel, True. I can
Hmm.
always go back to the videos because you don't delete the videos, and I can show you in
That's
the
right.
video what Alan said that God first made Adam and Eve in the spiritual realm,
oh
and
yes,
then he
okay.
can.
I know
You
what you're
see,
talking
and
about.
now you just said that he didn't. You just
No,
said
no,
that you never said that
you could
because
you
be-
um,
it's two accounts of them being made because there's two different sources.
hold up, sir. Let me explain what I said. I said Adam and Eve or Adam and Chava walk with the creator in a spiritual realm. And the reason why I said that was based on the scripture where they were already made. And the scripture says, and I'm going to find that there was no man to tend the grounds when it was
Right,
raining.
right. Now I remember now. That was on the debate.
If they were on a physical realm, it made them already.
That's
Why was no man to tend the ground? Can you answer that question? And you never answered it.
I can answer it now because I know
Oh,
better now.
Go ahead. Let's
So
hear it.
now I'm telling you. So now I'm telling you because it's four different sources.
Well, we're gonna actually. I want you when you're done, right, to inbox me those four sources. So obviously it's too late for you to
I'm
do it
telling you the
now.
sources now is the J source, the E source, the D source, and the P source.
That's great and all,
But I
but
will inbox
I
you.
want to see authors. I want to see editors. I want to see who wrote the statement. You said
okay.
scholars, right? Scholars do have names,
Right. Right. I like to
and just the fact that you said scholars, or I'm supposed to assume
I'm going
that
to show you.
all the scholars
I'm about
agree
to
with
give
this,
you.
or just a few scholars agree with this.
I'm gonna give you the name of the J source.
I'm sure everyone on the panel would like to take a look at this, and even
that's
Yeah, I
those
would
in the
like to read
gallery.
that.
that's what he's talking about. Or the Yahwehs, which I'm a Yahwehs. That's the J source. Where you only call the creator by his name, Yahweh.
So he's talking basically
So you do
persuasion.
know. So
That's
wait,
what he's saying by
wait.
persuasion. I
It's on.
told him this like years ago. There's different
So
persuasions. Like
you
you can
do
say
know.
Elohite version.
So
You know what I'm
hold
saying?
on, Alan.
Go ahead.
Alan. So Alan. So you do know that it's four different sources, right? And we do know what a source is, right? A source is information that's coming from an individual or individual group. So you
We
just said that the J source is the Yahwist.
right.
And
So
there's a
you are
priestly
aware
source,
that it's
et
four.
cetera, et cetera. It's a whole bunch. I mean, it's you
Like,
know what I
No,
okay,
it's
mean?
four. It's not a whole bunch.
Yeah.
It's four. And Allen
When
just
you say
confessed it.
priest, right, it's more than one priest.
Allen
So
has a
that you're
double.
obviously gonna have more than one priest. So that's what I'm
Allen has a
saying to you.
double tongue. Allen has a
No,
double tongue.
just don't like what I say. This is what I'm going to say. You have God and you have Jawists and you have different sets. Like there's different sets of Hebrews now. You have different sets of Messianics that interpret the Bible different ways.
Hmm.
Or
But
what
that's
you're
not
basing.
four different
And they
authors. He needs
and
to
they
understand
all.
that. That's not
That's
four
right.
different
That's right.
authors.
I understand
Right.
that.
That's what
Listen,
I'm saying.
I understand that.
The book
That is.
and in
Listen,
the Bible, let me just finish. I have a book
that
that
is
called
correct.
in that Bible,
And,
it
and,
only
and
finish in that
and what's
Bible,
going on
sir.
in
Can
the Torah? Listen,
I
listen.
talk? I want to talk to you, but I'm not going to talk over you. If you're going to talk, I'm going to let you talk. But when I start, please stop. Professional. Now you're going to talk now, and I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
Hold on,
But now, when you talk,
Alan. Hold
or so I'm going to be quiet now because when I talk, I want you to be quiet. If not, I want True to cut your mic. Now I'm going to be quiet, and you got the floor for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got 10 minutes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Hard Jarv. You got 10 minutes free talk.
He's coming in broken up. He's trying to talk. I think something's wrong with it. Jarvis, you're going to
You
come
might have
back.
to go out and come back in, my brother.
Right.
on,
I
Alan.
don't. Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What,
Oh,
Alan?
yeah. I can barely hear you. You said Alan.
Alan, hold on,
I'm listening.
Alan.
I'm listening.
Alan, hold on, Alan.
I haven't said nothing.
Yeah, I can't. Easy plan.
Hard Jarv, you became
No, no,
nervous, Jarv, brother. Go ahead.
Alan. Well, let me talk. Let me talk. Let me. You already talked.
I haven't said nothing, Jarvis.
You listen,
He must be
Alan.
on
You
the
just
leg.
said that there are different sources.
You have the floor, Jarvis.
My goodness. I don't know what is going on with him. But since he brought that up, all right, I'm going to put it on the screen. What he was actually, I guess he doesn't understand. It's not for authors. That's why I was like, for authors? Where is he getting this information from? But anyway, he must have read something. He must have learned something what you call shake and bake style, literally. But he don't have it completely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it up so people can know. All right. I don't know if you guys can see this on the screen, but this is from a article. P. Understanding the priestly source. Reading an introduction to biblical. Can y'all see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me go back so I can make sure. All right. It says reading an introduction to the biblical criticism. Keyword: biblical criticism. A beginning student might well think he or she is peering into a bowl of alphabet soup, or perhaps perusing a catalog of foundations and corporations. Letters are all over the place, especially J, E, P, D, H, and R. Occasionally, there's even a K, L, N, Q, and S. At the times, the letters stick together, yielding R, blah, 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 blah. Keyword: as readers of the Bible Review knew or known, these letters designate the various literary components making up the 5 books of Moses. The letters are the first initials of the names given to the authors or literary circles that produce these components, such as J for Yahweh. That's what you said, Yahweh. All right, that's the J. And E, Elois, which I told him years ago. Elois. And then Deuteronomist, and obviously P, the priestly source. And one more, holiness code, and then redactor. We got 6 out of there, and you think? But anyway, the rarer letters are those used by individual scholars who think they have detected additional authors on literary straight within the major components. That's why I ask him for names of actual authors. And when you got a scholar, not all the scholars all agree with each other. Obviously, that's how you got this whole basis to begin with. All right. I've seen people like to use those four sources in a debate a lot of times when they really don't have an idea what the hell they're talking about. And they put those that don't know what's going on thinking they discovered something new. Okay. When in reality, that's just a bunch of scholars or what you call a bunch of those that come to some type of disagreement and they're trying to come up with a solution to fix it. That's all that is.
Right.
It's nothing that we could use out of that to consider there's only four authors of Torah. You can forget that. One would have to be dumb, dumbed down, confounded, and stupid to believe there was only four authors of the entire Torah. Okay? First of all, we know that there is always going to be what you call a person that scribes something for such and such. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And we talking about the actual scribe that was physically there. I ain't talking about some scholar, at least somebody that rewrote something and tampered with it. You know what I mean? I'm not going back as far as like saying like Ezra. We know that Ezra, he had every right to do it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
He was the one that gave us back what was lost. So we have to accept that. But it's not going to be 100% ever free.
Right. This is what I like to read. And this is a quote from Charles Butler Neto, Neto. He's
Yeah, my 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 phone is not acting right, but
Well, we'll give you
y'all
this
can't
your
even
10
get
minutes
on my
right now if
level.
you
Y'all
you
don't know.
take the 10 minutes.
Go ahead,
Listen,
man.
y'all don't even know. You don't. But how can we communicate? How can we even have a conversation when y'all don't even know anything about the JEPD source
We
of the Tanakh?
know about the sources, sir,
I just
but
read it.
right, he just read it. The thing
Okay,
is,
all right. So if you know about the sources, then you know that all four are inside of Tanakh.
right. And what I wanted
It's
to
Okay,
read,
actually
so
six.
so so if all four are inside of Tanakh, then you have four different views from four different groups of what they saw or what they believed.
can I
Yeah,
can I answer that question? I have some information from a scholar. His name is Charles R. Butler Neto or Neto. He's from the Howard University School of Divinity. And he said the J, E, P, and D is a theory promulgated by German theologians. They are not people, but a group of people using different words to describe the divine. The J people in the Bible use Yahweh as the preferred name in their narratives and are concerned with rules. The E people, Elohim, the more generic form of God, and are more concerned with justice and a wider view. The P are the priests who are concerned about order, and the D are the Deuteronomists, the editors who try to merge all of them together to make sense.
Okay,
They
right there, right there. The
oh,
editors. Who are the editors? And if,
hold
if
up,
they're editors, who are the editors?
I'm not finished. This is why you and I
But
cannot.
but I have to go. My break is up. I'm at work. It's from 10 to 10:30. But great conversation, and we'll pick up again.
No, no, no.
yeah.
I'm going to
I
go.
have to go. I'm at work.
Goodbye. I'm going to read
Uh,
this to my audience now.
he like to be, he like to get up on your skin, sir.
Let me finish.
Unfortunately, that he's coming in on something that he lacks the
Right. So
information.
it says the D are the Deuteronomists, the editors who try to merge all of them together to make sense. Now, here's the last statement by Mr. Netro. There are no documents in the ancient world that can prove this doctrine.
Thank you.
An assumption that different people would have different rules. And if
Just
you
you just DOA'd it.
right, and if you would read, if he heard what I said in the beginning, the J, the E, the P, the D is a theory promulgated by German theologians. A theory. It's a theory. But
And
the
those are the things that a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of people, I think, probably Brother Fakar, you kept a little bit of contact with some of the stuff on the Sanetta show, right?
Right.
Sanitizing. I think Nate Parr, she tried to use that to talk very, I guess, educational to some of those that don't know, and she used that junk. It really
uh,
has no
Right.
validity
I'm
to
aware.
the real scriptures being written. Nothing to do with it. Bunch of
I don't
opinions.
right. I don't have a problem with anything he brings out. But as you see, as soon as I was reading, he didn't let me finish. This is why I have a problem, Mr. Anderson. Anything you want to bring out, and I know he's watching, but like I said, I don't have a problem. But like I said, this gentleman, Mr. Charles R. Butler Neto, Howard University School of Divinity, said it's a theory promulgated by German. It's a theory. A theory is something that's not factual, Mr. Anderson. They're not people, but groups of people using different words to describe the divine. The J, I'll read it again. The J people in the Bible use Yahweh as the preferred name. That's a Yahwist or a Jahwist. And in their narratives and are concerned with rules. The E people, Elohim, the more generic form of God, are more concerned with just a wider view. The P are the who are concerned about order, and the D or the Deuteronomists. But at the end, it says there are no documents in the
Mhm.
ancient that can prove this doctrine. But that different,
It's funny that you said that. Basically, you would have dug into his ass if you would have used that in a debate. And I
right,
kind of warned him. I said that the problem is the places where he's used to going to and the people he's used to dealing with, they're kind of easy streets. But when it comes down to us, and I told him this is what I said about what you would do. I said you're gonna scrutinize everything that's being stated coming out of his mouth, and you're gonna attack it. And I tried to say to him that just because, like, say he wants to call out for Carl, which he never did, or Brother Ben, I said they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna do the same thing. But then he
right,
turns around and tries to say, "I'll be hinting to you guys, or I would be shooting you answers." I ain't shooting anybody any answers because, like I said to you earlier, it would be an insult to shoot you an answer when you could do that job yourself. The same thing with Bakar could do it himself. Brother Ben could do it himself. I'm sure even Sister Jacqueline in the gallery, if she was one of the ones, she could do it herself. See,
right,
the problem with Jarvis is, right, he found out something today, right? Like it's a picture of shake and bake, it's still cheap.
right,
Walmart, $3.38. You can buy it cheap. You can't you can't come out, with instant information and think that you're gonna be able to use that against those that do this on a daily basis. We sit down and discuss things over and over and over and over until we find out the truth or come
right,
close to it.
Right.
Just like me answering his question. Yes, he was going to ask me about the 40 days. I don't have the scriptures in front of me, so my answer is going to be according to what is written. We'd have to validate what is written in it. Then he turns around and utilizes my words, try to utilize it against me as I don't believe in such and such. I never said anything about I don't believe. I just said we are not to take it literal. And I said I don't from Genesis chapter 1 through 10 because I know that it's different persuasions in it. Basically, is the answer that he's thinking he's coming up with is basically me saying it clear as a whistle.
right. Like
But
I
that
said,
doesn't take away from it being a valid story. You know what I
my
mean?
gonna say this. Um, what Jarvis brings to the table has no legitimacy. That's number one. He's not a so anything that he says is, it doesn't really mean anything. I can see if he was a Hebrew and he had his own set and he had people under him and he was trying to teach. But Jarvis' job is to break down the Torah and say it's not true. So I don't look at
At the end of the day, that's what his basis is. He
Right.
wants to replace the theoretical belief system with the system of, I would say, Mesopotamia,
Right.
which I'm down to
Right.
hear his side of it, but I'm going to burn him on every aspect of it, and I could use Torah within itself to burn him with. In the
Right.
fact that he doesn't have, and he ain't going to be able to. Not one a scholar that's out here that's pushing that mess could even really defend their walk or shake on that anyway. So I don't know why it's out there. I mean, if you don't want to believe in the Hebrew manuscripts, then hey, I understand it. Walk away.
My my thing is like a lot of people might mistake me for some things that I might say or I might post, but when I when I say something or I post something, I just picked up on the information. And so what I do is like last week we was talking about the whole Daniel thing.
Mhm.
And what I realized, I had said that Daniel wrote the Torah and Tanakh or whatever, but after I went back and fact checked myself, I realized he didn't. Like you said, it was like you all say, it's Ezra, but I realized he kind of contributed to certain things when he was
Mhm.
in, was in the captivity. So I do that with everything. If I learn something new, I might split it out, but I'll come back, go back and check myself. I keep on researching and researching until I'll correct myself and find the truth. Or you all to
Mhm.
correct me. That's
Mhm.
what I
Well,
do.
one of the first things coming up, the Heathen's New Year, when we come back, you know, maybe not this day seven coming up, but the day seven after that, I'm going to do one particular what you call podcast dedicated, to teach people about Ezra. We're going to talk about some of these books and chapters that we haven't even touched on, like Habakkuk and all those guys like that. You know
Right.
what I mean? We're going to touch on those things and then give another take on the provinces of Babylon, so they can have a better understanding of it, and exactly what you just stated there, and make it make sense of
Right.
why
And
such and such. But
I think Hard Job or Mr. Hard Job, I don't think he doesn't do that. I think he just read the information and he just runs with it and tell everybody about, that's what he
like I said,
does.
shake and bake. Somebody said something, or he spotted someone on the internet. He jumped the gun, but not reading the whole thing could be detrimental to his whole cause. Especially if you're gonna bring that stuff out on the DOA hit squad, you're gonna get chopped up.
Well, the thing that I love about Jarvis is that he's a hater.
Mhm.
I, I love the fact that he knows that he's the nemesis. He loves to come on here and try to destroy the belief of the Hebrew belief system, which he can never do.
Mhm.
I appreciate
Right.
to show that wicked and that, because the more he shows that he does not believe in the Torah, it exposes him for who he is.
Mhm.
Like I said, you can't say that you believe in Yahweh or Yohe but you're trying to break down the essence of the Torah.
Exactly.
And so still tries to say that he's a Hebrew. He's not. He never. And I've been telling True this for several years. This guy is not a Hebrew. All he does is he talks negative about the culture.
Mhm.
You know, and when I debated him, he brought up a teaching that has never been taught, that there's two gods.
Yeah, I remember that. Lord and the Lord God and God. What? No.
Mhm.
Commandment says you should have no other god but me, or
Too
beside.
much dabbling in the Mesopotamia god pantheon, trying to fit in Enki and Enlil, and then realizing that if we want to touch stone, we can touch stone with Anu in his temple, and really provide names of such and such.
Right.
But like I said, that's from Genesis chapter 10. What I mean? He don't realize that, and you got to think about it. None of that really counts because our actual saga don't begin until who? Abraham.
Right. It doesn't.
Right.
This is our belief system. This is what
Mhm.
we were given from, Adam down to Abraham and so on, and Isaac and Jacob. This is what we believe. we're not trying to force you, Mr. Anderson, to believe what we believe. But at the same token, you can't come in here and try to tell us what's right and what's wrong. You're not credible. You're not
Hmm.
a you can't tell us. I would listen to Brother Vakad and my Moray True before I listen to you because I've debated you several times. And
Hmm.
this is I don't even like you on our platform because you poison it.
Well,
I
Damn.
he was trying to attempt. I guess it didn't come out fast enough to attempt to say Gilgamesh and Noah is one and the same. I was waiting for him to try to say that, and I was saying, you make yourself look like a fool in reality.
because I would have blown him away. He first statement where this guy who is a scholar said it's a theory, and that
Hmm.
documents in the ancient world that says this exists. It's based on a theory, and all the stuff he talks about is based on his belief in Mesopotamia, which, like you said, is nothing wrong with that if that's what you believe. But stop trying to add and mix Torah writings with your writings of Sumer. Okay,
Or
we
just say Shinar, Shinar,
Yeah. Sayonara.
Shinar, Uruk, Uruk, Iraq, modern day.
Right.
Where, wait, matter of fact, where are their gods at that they believed in according to the Mesopotamians pantheon today? There are none. None exist. To be honest with you, all of those that what you call whatever happened to the ancient Sumerians, they became Muslim.
Right.
Okay, it's
Right.
Inky and Enlil, and I knew. That's the end of that.
Mm.
right, but I mean, he's entitled to his belief, and
Then he brought up to me about how my channel should be set up in comparison to how Ben Carson is fair with his way of debates. And I said, I can't go with that. My channel is based upon people seeking and finding the truth. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep with that as just the way it is. And when everybody's on here, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to provide nothing but truth and this, that. However, we don't all agree on such and such, but one thing at the end of the day, we still get a seeking point of the truth. Now, Ben Carson, to me, he got beat up by Christian, so I didn't have to do much. Just the fact that he got beat up by a Christian, he killed his whole, I guess, his little walk run.
Stop the
He's still,
snowball.
yeah. I mean, if he still got followers and they're foolish enough to continue following him with that nonsense, that's on them. And to be honest with you, like Alan would say, they're not Hebrews to begin with. So to be honest, they ain't hurting nothing that we talking about.
I mean, you're allowed to have whatever belief you want to have, but at the end of the day, I'm going to still be a Hebrew, and I'm going to still follow the Torah and the Tanakh. So you can bring up the J source, the B source, the E source. I mean, it doesn't matter. What you say is not edged in stone. There's I've already proven from a scholarly source that it was
Yeah, at
a
least you can name names when somebody asks you that question. What scholar you talk about? You can name that scholar. You ask him,
Right.
you're gonna get a delay in there. You're gonna get a stutter in there. He ain't gonna have it because guess what? He hasn't figured it out yet. You know,
no.
shake and bake, shake and bake.
Yeah,
Can't
you
be
be
an
listening to
instant.
some wrong YouTubers, man.
Hmm. They're out there. Trust me, they're out there. I can sit the
Yes,
whole
sir.
day and then watch a couple of things that come on their own, after watching some good things. And I'd be seeing some weird shit.
Right.
If you want to go even further, viewers or anybody in the gallery, you look up what is the JEPD source theory.
Hmm.
Theory is something that's not factual.
Not factual.
Okay. Okay. So that's what it's called, the JEDP source theory. So,
Hmm.
like the gentleman said, Mr. Petto, there's no information that says this was actual something that was written down, you know.
Mhm. Even though, like a scholar might not be something that we all disagree or agree with. If they put their name on that print, at least they got the balls to do that, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like something that's coming out of my mouth. I want to connect with it as being me, like something coming out of your mouth is you. But I don't like it, especially with a guy like him, or assume because somebody made a statement that they're saying it and he twists it. That's
Right.
no good.
Because okay, I go back to college and I get a degree in Bible studies and I write a couple of books and I become a scholar. Now, I have my opinion on what I believe certain biblical writings should be like. No,
Hmm.
everybody that's a Torah advocate is going to follow me, but you have those that are not, so they're going to disagree with me.
Key
You know,
word, Torah advocate.
Right.
so
I agree with that. Oh, excuse my fault.
no, go ahead, continue.
I finna say I agree with that. And what I found out through my studies is that for every 5 scholars who are teaching and researching the actual history, you have 2 or 3 more that's gonna disagree with the
Hmm.
ones that's right,
Hmm.
and that's written in history. Every
That's
book I
correct.
read.
That's correct. That's actually true there, and that goes what I said to him when he was trying to utilize that handicap on James Strong. I said that's fine and dandy. I mean, we could actually pull out other what you call concordances and see if they agree with him, and then he'd have a problem because the problem is going to be what you don't like about with James Strong, especially the Hebrew side. I could give two shits about what he's talking about with the Greek side. I don't subscribe to the New Testament, but all of that is in the Hebrew side. If there's one mistake, right, one mistake, the burden is on the person who doesn't accept that to prove to the masses that mistake. And you notice something? You have not seen no scholar, black, red, yellow, orange, green, whatever color you choose to go against. I don't care if he's a Methodist. I don't care if he's a Christian. If he's telling something that's truth there, it's truth. He's just got to deal with that. You know what I mean? That's all. So I guess, you can't get around certain things where somebody else agrees with the same thing you're talking about. So he got to try to attack that. I see a
Right.
lot of people doing that. I see that other guy, Mr. Williams, I Williams. He tries to do that. Well, the white man did this. The white, fine and dandy, fine and dandy, but stop speaking like the white man speaking. Because guess what? The language you speaking came from. They don't believe in flavors whip. They don't believe in none of that shit. Oh, the white man told you that. Oh, the white man told you everything, right? Man, come on. Well, show me something what the black man did. You notice they don't have any books written from any melanated person, but they got the nerve to be sitting up here questioning your sources.
Mm.
Shameful, shameful, shameful.
So, Mr. Jarvis, I'm going to tell you who came up with that theory that you're talking about, the JEDP. His name is Julius Wellhausens, Wellhausen. He was born in 1844. He died in 1980. He's the one that came up with the so-called document theory of the Torah or the Pentateuch. According to this theory, a group of authors who could be distinguished by their different literary styles, written.
Oh man, you just dropped the bomb on him. You gave him a day 1820. So you mean to tell me that the information that he's basing this thing on is something that's what you call outsourced, literally,
That's
meaning
new.
that it has no credibility no further back than that.
The guy who came up with this is Julius Wellhausens, Julius Wellhausens. This is his theory, and it was called documentary theory of the Torah or Pentateuch.
Hmm.
According
Well,
to the
at least he can take credit for it. That was his theory. You know what I mean?
That's what he's
You,
saying.
you leave it up to Jarvis. You have somebody out there saying when the first time they walked out the door and the sun was shining in their face, they discovered the sun. I mean, come on.
Is
But
his
he's entertaining. He's very entertaining. I really wanted him to have his, you know, 15 minutes of, I call it funk. That's what I grabbed up everybody to hear it because I was assuming that he said he was going to call out those, but obviously he didn't really want to call out
no
anybody. He just wanted to spew out something that he just learned. That he
right.
just learned. Just learned.
We're not gonna do that.
Told him he has to be prepared when he comes on our platform. He has to be prepared because we're gonna scrutinize every word that come out of his mouth.
Right. So
Every word.
so I just wanted him to know who came up with that particular information. Julius Wellhausens, if I'm pronouncing it right, Wellhausens. He's the one who came up with that. So
Mhm.
much for your belief, Mr. Anderson. It has no credibility. Okay.
Let
So
me look up something real quick while you guys are talking. 'Cause I did say other concordances. I'm gonna look up Cruden's concordance.
Right.
Not that I use it.
um I think he also said that he was going to show a scripture where the Torah was written by other people. I'm going to bring out one scripture that basically neutralizes everything he says. And this
Hmm.
script in the Hebraic Roots Bible, a literary translation, and this is in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verses 8 through 9. Chapter 31, Deuteronomy, verses 9 in the Hebraic Roots Bible, and it says, "And Yahweh is he who is going before you. He himself shall be with you. He shall not fail you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be afraid." Verse 9, "And Moses wrote this Torah." Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Moses wrote this Torah and delivered it to the priests, the sons of Levi, those bearing the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and to all the elders of Israel.
So the
Okay.
stamp of excellence goes to Moses.
So
That's
I'm
what
going
I've
to
been
see
saying.
if I can put this up in the screen and you can see it. I don't know if I can do that. Where it says Moses' name and it says the Torah.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see that.
We don't
Um,
see it, but we know it's there. I mean,
this
it's
is this is the
what you call
Hebraic.
common knowledge anyway. To be honest
Right.
with you.
This is the Hebraic Roots Bible. It's the reason why I have this Bible. It's more literal as far as showing the actual names of our Creator. It uses the word Torah instead of law, even though law means Torah in Hebrew. It's one and the
Hmm.
same, but it says the word Torah outright. It says a couple other things. This is more of like a glossary type Hebrew Roots Bible because it gives other information at the bottom.
It's your sword, right? It's your sword. It's
It's my
when you
sword.
pull out your sword, you take that blade out of the sheath. That's what you pull out. I, and nobody can really turn around and say anything about it unless they can provide something that they're going to show as their better book. You know what I mean? And you will always say, for my camera on and show you that you're using an actual source. You get what I'm saying? And nothing wrong with that. But you ask him to do that, and there's a bunch of gurgling, there's a bunch of stuttering, there's a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, a little you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Google ain't working fast enough because she's not prepared.
And it says at the bottom, Moses wrote the entire Torah. There's no mention of the oral law that later came as a tradition of the rabbis. Deuteronomy 31:24, Exodus 21:4, 1 Kings 14:21. That's what it said, that he wrote the entire Torah. Okay.
Mhm.
So, as far as that, I just want to add that in. These are the questions I wanted to talk to him about. But the thing with Jarvis, he likes to interrupt Now, if the viewers, I know my brothers and Moray, True, and my brother Vakar see me sit here, and I say, "Go and talk." You still talking? You still talking? And I wasn't
Very,
saying
very funny.
anything.
Very
I
funny
was, I was
entertainment.
right. I was waiting for him to say something because I don't have a problem having a discussion with you, but we both can't talk. I'm getting amped up. You're getting amped up. Let's talk one at a time. And he refused to let me do that. When I sat there and didn't say anything, then he's sitting there, "You still talking? You still," I'm like, "What is this guy talking about?" I'm like, "Oh man, this," and he thinks I would debate him again? Nah. Mm-mm.
Well, I told him that, and I said to you, have your right to don't ever have to. It's not
Right.
really. What are you gonna gain out of it? You know what I
Nothing.
mean? You know,
Nothing.
you can't gain anything from it. I mean,
Nothing.
and he's not gonna gain anything but the same treatment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's not saying that you're treating him bad. He's treating himself bad because is he really, really, really out here trying to learn this stuff that he's talking about, or is he just trying to like poison? That's the problem.
Well,
Right. I came up with a conclusion with the brother Ahmad, so it's like, why debate you, man? I'm not gonna learn anything and you ain't even gonna
right.
pick it up.
Mhm.
I would rather get beaten in a debate and learn something than go against somebody that I know I have more knowledge with. The reason why you're actually supposed to debate is not supposed to be some type of fight. It's
Right.
supposed to be the
I agree.
building of two minds where I give information, you give information.
Mhm.
But people have taken it as a fight against one another. If I believe in Torah and Vakar believes in the Torah, there's no reason why I should debate you. You are my brother. We have the same beliefs. Okay? But
Well,
if
that's
I
what I said. A lot of times we'll be able to have what you call open,
discussions,
live in discussions. Where
right.
a person could turn around, and I told him this too. I said, was it either week before last? We were on the show, and I was kind of the opposite of what everybody was agreeing with. I think that was when brother Ben was talking about the female thing, and I was in kind of oppose of it. But at the same time, we all got along, right? We
Mm,
all got
right.
along. We all said our words, and at the end of the day, we all walked out champions. Of learning something. But in his case,
Right.
he just wants to beat the shit out of, I guess, the DOA platform, not knowing he's knocking on the wrong door.
Right. Well, I
Great
believe that.
202, shalom, brother, shalom. Been a
Oh,
while, been a while. We were looking for you a couple of weeks
Shalom.
back. You missed out on the old Daniel talk. I mean, you put that link back in here. You may want to pop
right.
on.
202.
We missed
Right.
you, brother.
Shalom, my brother.
hmm
The thing is, I wouldn't even want Bakar to even debate Mr. Anderson, because remember when I had a debate with him, what did he wind up doing before the ending came? He walked
Run
off.
and jump and leave.
He
He
left.
committed debate
So
suicide.
right, he is not worthy of any debate with anyone because, like I said, you can't get upset with somebody because they're besting you. I mean, there may be a time if I decide to debate somebody that's more book knowledge than me that I may lose, and if I do, I lose. I don't. For me, I don't take a debate as a win or lose. Because I'm not losing because I'm gaining knowledge. You just have more knowledge than me.
Or it started to look like you be beating them so bad that everybody call you the bully.
Right. And I'm not a bully. I'm really not. My thing is I'm about learning about the Torah and teaching others what I know. Um,
Right.
I mean, Brother True has taught me some things, and I put that in my arsenal, and this is what I use. A person like Jarvis, like I said, I have nothing against him personally. If I did, he couldn't come on this platform. for a
I'm
while.
humble. I learn from everybody myself. Don't think
Right.
that I know, better than someone else. I learned too. You get what I'm saying? It's
We're
just that
all learning.
we're out here all the time, and we're doing this. This is what we do. This is
Right.
common. It's easy street for
Right.
us.
I agree. I'm
So,
always in somebody post creeping around on the page
right,
reading.
right. That it's anybody that says they're a
Well, your
master
post that you
teacher.
made earlier this week, I knew that was going to walk. Everybody going when it comes down to that book of Daniel or anything to get Daniel in that name, you're not going to get much feedback because they don't know. You get what I'm saying? They don't know,
Right.
and they don't really want to put themselves out there too much with it either, because like you might have, and I would have probably listened to what you were saying because guess what? I've heard that before. I think I responded on your post. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've seen that before. So you wasn't saying nothing outlandish. You get what I'm saying? But like you
Right.
said, you re-looked at it and you thought about it, and it just happened to be nice that we have to think about Ezra too. You got to think about
Yep.
Ezra.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Yeah. Brother Great too. Hop on the panel. We got like a few more minutes. We'd like to hear from you. You know what I mean?
That Psalms 119 though, that's a killer. I'm waiting to pull the sword out on somebody for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You said you had a family emergency. Sorry to hear that. You know, especially not around the time frame we're in now. When you get those things, it's kind of like it's like busted door open with the wind blowing in. So I understand. I understand. Get the smashing idol back up on here. I've been checking his page out. He's not been doing too much. I'm like, what's going on? They love to censor us. They love to slow us down, especially the information we're putting out.
Right. I haven't heard anything from him lately myself.
Mhm. But I see other folks coming along too, so that's a good thing. Brother Moshe, we gotta pray for him because I don't know what's going on. He's starting to fall into the hands of the wrong side of things. Doing a lot of conspiracy type of theory stuff like that. That'll drag you down, especially when it comes down to the Hebrew heritage. You gotta stay focused. Stay focused. You know. But other than that, what we got going on, Brother Allen, coming up, we're gonna talk some more about the New Testament, but we're gonna touch on some of the passages, and I have to say it like that, the passages, the famous passages that came directly from the fish's mouth. And we're going to look at that, especially like there's a bunch in Matthew, there's a bunch in the book of John. Luke, he kind of like separates himself because he's not clearly an eyewitness to anything, and we all know this. You know what I mean? We already know the rest of the
Right.
thing, how it goes with Mark and then Paul's and his so-called epistles, you know. But we're going to scrutinize a lot of coming from the horse's mouth and show how when scriptures don't line up with passages, and I'm saying the passages referring to the Greek passages or Aramaic so-called passages of the New Testament. You know, Christians they they hate they hate when they're shown that word for word what their own book is saying. They hate that, and unfortunately, that's why we don't follow that junk.
Right. And
Yep.
I think it's strange that far as like the other persuasion, they're even starting to notice that the New Testament is full of a lot of contradictions and crap. And they every time they get the chance, anytime they get the chance, they saying it on their platforms. Oh, the Bible is full of contradictions, and they go out there and they go to the New Testament and pull up the verse, and I be like,
Hmm. That's what happens, when they have to try to keep up their belief, but it doesn't match up with logic. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not gonna knock a Christian down when he's down. I actually pick him up and be like, yo,
Right.
you realize something that I realized 30, 40 years ago. Welcome to the realm.
Right.
You know what
I
I mean?
always tell them that, my thing is not like what you were saying earlier. You were saying that you don't beat Christians over the head because it's just like beating a dead horse. But my
Hmm.
thing is, what I do is I always make sure I tell them that, hey, I always make sure that I tell them that, hey, at the end of the day, when you going through your trials and tribulation, just remember, turn back to the Most High, because don't just throw down that book and say burn the Bible all together. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what the thing I've been noticing. When a lot of people beat up Christians too much, they end up running away from the whole thing. And
right,
that's not what we should be focusing on and doing. You know what I mean? We have to build them back up after we tear them down. And
right,
even though, like I said to Jarvis, you don't really see me going and attacking like your Sonettas and the atheist side, because to me, it's not really the energy that need to be wasted, because they're gonna believe or disbelieve anyway, and ain't nothing you can do to get to them when they become atheists. Or however you say, non-believers. They're opening themselves up for a world to become anything. They'll be worshiping the television next. You know what I
right,
Pa-
mean?
Pagans.
Pagans.
right.
That's right.
Right. Pagans.
Heathens.
Hmm.
Heathens, correct. That too. You
Hmm.
want to hear something crazy? I found out at my school that there are two young ladies that believe in the Wiccan religion.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm.
I just thought that was crazy.
Are you at a
It-
charter school or is it a Christian type school?
no, it's actually it's a regular school. I'm in an elementary,
Oh, okay.
and that is
Wow. Oh,
right, yo.
wow.
Um,
Hmm.
and the thing is, the teachers, like the nurse, is a witch. That's well, this
Mm.
this is the assumption that she's
At the
that
school.
at the school, and the reason
Right.
why is because she has allegedly the symbol on her car, and
Mm.
that symbol. I don't know if anybody, the viewers, anybody in the gallery, ever seen the TV show Charmed, and there's a
Hmm.
Right.
certain symbol they have that one of them used to wear around their neck, and it was a symbol that they had on their book of spells, and that particular nurse has that same symbol on her car, and that's the symbol that is used by the Wiccan religion. uh, and believe it or not, there's a difference between Wiccan or Wicca and a witch. you know
Right.
I thought it was fascinating. you
Yeah,
know
one celebrates, I think, the cycle of seasons and stuff like that, and the other one is more
Hmm.
on like
Right, right.
witchcraft. A
And
Wiccan is believe witchcraft and all that stuff.
right.
Right.
It basically says that Wicca, a religion that originated in the UK in the 1940s,
Mm.
Wiccans practice rituals, sacred circles that often include meditation, prayer,
To
music.
animals.
Hmm.
Yes, I read that
Hmm.
somewhere too.
Yep.
Um, Honor the elements of nature and the associated direction. Wicca is part of a larger pagan movement, which also includes Druids and
Hmm.
heathens.
Hmm.
So
Dukes.
that's pretty great.
Definitely of foreign distinct of far away from the Hebrew culture. I
Oh,
mean, I've
definitely.
seen some black sisters like dabbling into that. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well,
that's
the
what I thought
nurse,
when you
Breaking
were
up.
saying what you were
Oh, I'm
saying.
breaking up.
You know what I
the,
mean?
the nurse is a sister. She has dreads, and I was told by one of my coworkers. You know, so I'm like, wow. So I mean, I was like, wow. It just amazes me that you meet. this is the first time I've ever been around somebody that believes in something like that. And I'm always fascinated. I don't want to ask her any questions because she's obviously quiet about it. She
Hmm.
doesn't really talk about it. But, you know what I'm saying? She had the symbol on her car. And that's something that, well, that first symbol on your left is near the moon.
Hmm.
That's the symbol she had on her car.
Oh, okay.
That's if you watch the TV show Charmed,
Hmm.
Prue and Phoebe wore a necklace that had that particular the symbol right from the left of the moon. They had that necklace, and that is a symbol that's on her car. So it's
Well, at
pretty.
least you showing that you are aware of certain things. Like, to me, my kids are grown now; they're in school. But I would have you know kind of an issue with how the school system. I mean, you know how it is now. They
Right,
welcome everything in there, so I can
right,
imagine. You know what I mean?
right.
But
It's just crazy that, like I said, there's different. People have the right. It's their constitutional right, unless Trump tears that apart. They have their constitutional right to. He takes everything else away.
mhm.
It's their constitutional right to believe in what they want to believe. If they want to believe in rocks or roaches or insects, that's their
Not
belief.
roaches.
Roaches, hey man, you'd be surprised what people believe in,
Right.
man. And I'm
Spiders.
just and spiders too. I'm just fascinated with
Oh,
the information that people actually believe in other beliefs other than the Hebrew belief. And here's the funny thing. Now, the other young lady that's a Wiccan, she's Jewish. Her last name, I can't, I don't want to say her name, but it's a Jewish last name.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just funny. Now, she doesn't, I don't think she practiced Judaism but she has a Jewish name. So that lets me know her family is Jewish, but she probably
a
does
lot of
not
them.
practice.
A lot of them do.
You remember that? You remember that girl that when we first started our group on there, who was first she was a Hebrew, then she went, she learned a lot of the Ravenous Birds thing.
Yes, I
Then
know what you're
slowly
talking
she
about.
started she started changing
Evolving.
from
Yes.
evolving to African spirituality,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying.
Right. I know what you're
That's
talking
you
about.
think of that like that. You see
Right.
a lot of the
Right.
heathen, especially like Jewish
Right.
Jewish persuasion lady. Now
Right.
she's turning full throttle. You know what I mean?
I think people like that, in my opinion, are fascinating because they are still trying to find themselves. The
Hmm.
creator is working on them because at one point I was like that. Like I said, you
No, she was
when
a very smart female. That's the thing.
right,
Very
very smart.
wise, but
Right.
obviously dabbling in such and such sometimes to do that. You know,
Right.
I mean, at least
Right.
whatever she's put her head into, she learns it.
Right.
Unlike Hard Jarv, I mean, she'll
Oh
get big.
Lord.
She ain't gonna just put herself out there and say something stupid without
Right.
knowing what she's talking about. I give her that credit. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I still see her. Sometime I'll run into her. I don't really say anything, but because I go you know how my page is. I put a lot of music on my page. I put my children on my page. My daughter just had a wedding November 16th. So I got a lot of wedding pictures. Then after the wedding pictures, I have my music up there. So sometime when I do on Facebook my story, I put nothing but music and I put pictures to make it more interesting. I'll see who's looking at my music and pictures, and I've seen her one time on there. I
Mhm.
said, "Oh wow," but I didn't say anything because it's kind of hard. I haven't spoke to her in such a long time and stuff like that. But maybe if I see her ever again, I will hit up her inbox and say, "Hey sister," because she was very, like you said, very informative. She, you know, Ravensburg has taught her well. I think she was 1 of his prize pupils because she actually learned the hybrid. um, Paleo Hebrew from him,
Hmm.
and she could speak it very well.
Right.
But what happened is, when I started talking to her, I said, "Well, you do know, even know what he's teaching you is based on the allegedly the original language is hybrid. He added elements to it. So once you add elements to something, it's not original anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she acknowledged it, which I was shocked because some followers of a belief, they will not um they will not acknowledge things have been changed. You and I have talked about different things that I look at differently than other people in the Torah, and I'm not going to go into that now. So, but with her, she acknowledges, which was shocking. It's only being truthful um, when you believe in something and you may not see it as the next person. That's just that's the individuality of all people when they are part of a belief system. So what does this say? We don't know the sister Jacqueline. What she says? We don't know anything except what has been presented to us. Careful not to talk yourself out of what you do not know yet. What I'm kind of lost. What was
Somebody responded to like how when we was talking about how certain people they switch up their their walk sometimes and
right?
follow
Well,
certain
I
groups.
I I, I can say this, Miss Bugs. My thing is this: I am the type of person that when I become part of a belief, the only way I leave that belief if the Creator has me move. I started out as a Christian because my family, who are still part of the Christian experience, um,
I like that. The Christian
yes, the Christian
experience.
experience. I was part of that for about 17 or 18 years, and I'm not gonna go on why I left because I've done that many times, but I wind up leaving. From there, I became a very obedient servant of not the Nation of Islam because they're Shriners, but traditional Islam. And I was part of that for over 20 years. And then I found error and I left.
Key
And I
word, found
came,
error. I like that.
right, I did. I find error.
Right.
And I've been part of the Hebraic culture for now over a decade.
Right. And I'm
And
sure it was not simple error either. You ain't gonna just jump the gun cause like
no,
a simple
no.
error, you know. But
The,
you gotta clear that up because a guy like Hard Jarv, he's still watching, even though he's
oh,
microphone.
hard,
Like he'll turn around
hard.
and say, "Oh, so you found error. So when you find error, that means
Get
Um,
a
the, the,
recording.
the, the thing is, I'm the type of person, um, I'm not gonna stay in something just to save face. You have a lot of people, Christians, Muslims, that stay in something and they know it's wrong, but they spent a lot of time in it and they don't feel like moving to anything else.
Well,
So they will stay.
I give old lady credit. Well, she was strong with it when she said she wasn't messing with it. Oh boy, she became a spiritual, African spirituality. She fought that one out.
Right. She's I think she's still part of that. And
Mhm.
like I said, I see her around here and there. I used to see her a lot, but she is I think she's a Jamaican woman. I think
It's
because
something.
I seen a lot of pictures that she puts out when she's on the island. I don't know
Mhm.
exactly where. And her guy, because I see her with pictures of him more than once. He has long dreads and I know they're on an island. I don't know what island. I'm not sure. So I know she's a native of the islands, and you know, she's into the spirituality, and I can dig it if that's what you're in. Because to be honest, being a Hebrew Israelite is not and we say this all the time, it is not a religion. Now, it can be practiced as a religion, but it is also spirituality. You're dealing with the Creator one on one. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? That's based on spirituality. When you start saying you got to go to a building and you have somebody telling you what you got to do and you're paying a dues, that's a religion. That's a religion. You know what I'm saying? That's not a belief. It's a belief, excuse me, but that's a religion. It's not, in my assessment, something that you should be following. I've been part of all of them. I've been a Masonic. Like I said, I've done it all. And you know, I when I was a Messianic for a while, um, it just something in my spirit, in my ruach, that didn't feel right, and
Mhm.
I left that, and that's when I became the Torah advocate or Torah based Hebrew or Israelite.
Mhm.
So that's just how I look at it. I can't, everybody has their own walk, and I can give.
That's one thing that's definite. Everybody has a own individual walk in how they shake themselves either away or shake themselves towards. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the
You
thing.
know.
What I want to do, since obviously we're about to close
Yes,
shortly,
sir. Yes,
and
sir.
this happened to be one of the nights where we did something quite different. We didn't
Yes,
bring
sir.
out a single scripture, a single scripture. So what I'm
Yes, we
going to
did.
do,
Yes, we
we
did.
did, we did.
I brought out where Moses wrote the Torah. We brought out a
Oh,
say,
okay, okay, okay,
read.
okay. Because other than that, I was gonna let you do a little teaser on the book of Habakkuk, so that when we come back, which goes forward to Ezra, I would have read something there so that
You can
the
still read if you want.
viewers can have something.
Yeah.
Let me pull it out there.
Yeah, pull it out.
I mean, it's not a topic, but I think you can get some meat out of it. That's for sure.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because I like to start teaching about prophecies and timelines of some of the other prophets that were in Babylon. You know, what I mean,
Okay.
we did a good, nice one on Daniel. So
Right.
it's time to do one on some of the other. I call them latter prophets of the exile. All right. Well,
Okay.
here's
Right.
a back at one. I'm gonna use the King James, of course. That's the common. Says the burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear, even cry out unto these of violence, and thou wilt not save? Right? Why dost thou slew or show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? Question mark. For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth for the wicked, doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Keep in mind, y'all, he is in captivity as if Daniel is in captivity or exile under the circumstances of what happened, Jerusalem, such and such. We know the Babylonians did it to them. He's just speaking his heart. Behold, ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which ye shall or will not believe, though it be told you. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. Like when you read in those latter chapters, Second Kings 24, 25, 26, you read all of that. You read all of that. That's why I was saying a lot of times when people like to denounce the book of Daniel, I can get to the same path just by going through other prophet books. This happened to be one of them, Habakkuk. Right? They tell the same story, just from their point of view, literally. Right? They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards and are more fierce than the evening wolves. People heard certain things like that in some of the older scriptures. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from afar. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. Killed ravenous bird. His theory. They shall come
Wow.
all for violence. Their faces shall sup up at the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand. Everyone that was left went into captivity if they were not killed or shipped off to Egypt, which was another side of the captivity with exile, etc., etc. That ends that portion. All right. Now, and they shall scoff at the kings and the princes, plural. I'm gonna read that again. And they shall
Right.
scoff at the kings and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall divide every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Babylon came in, kicked ass. There was no sparing, no saving, no one. Nobody was uh set aside, got a break. They didn't care. They laughed at the kings and the princes, etc., etc., etc. Right? Then
Right.
shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. Art thou not from everlasting, O Lord my God, mine holy one? Singular, singular. We shall not die, O Lord. Thou hast ordained them for judgment, and Almighty God, thou hast established them for what's the key word? Correction. Right? Thou art a purer eyes than a behold evil, to behold evil, and does not look on iniquity, whereas lookest upon thou upon them and deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he. All right, I'm gonna stop there. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 more verses left, but that's just what you call a teaser of what we're gonna be going into. I call it the
Right.
next season. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna touch some of the chapters and scriptures that a lot of the others will not touch. You know,
Right.
you dig through the entire Tanakh, there's a lot of things that have been untouched. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I agree.
So to even think of going into a New Testament, it's kind of like, why do that? You haven't learned the old yet.
Right.
Right.
Um, I'm looking in the glossary of the book of Habakkuk, and it's funny. It says Habakkuk was a contemporary of Jeremiah.
Hmm.
Verses 2 through 4, things have gotten so morally corrupt that the Torah had become irrelevant due to the people ignoring it, and no punishment seemed
Right.
imminent. Right.
Hmm.
So it's just this is the glossary of this book. But
I
yeah,
would actually definitely agree with that. That's why I said at the beginning, like I said, captivity, exile. And I said I kind of gave a little hint that Jeremiah too, because not everybody went to Babylon. Some went into Egypt, but they thinking that when they were shipped off to Egypt, they had it, peaceful. No, no, no. When Babylon
Right.
came in, they went buck wild all over. All right, this provinces and places that when you read these scriptures, you're gonna see and learn timeline and everything. And contemporary meaning like among situations of things that went on, you can damn near you can match it up. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But that's good. You read that in the glossary. But we're gonna touch on that. Then we're gonna get all the way up to the Ezra.
okay.
And the thing about Ezra, like when you talking about Daniel, it's like to me, whatever happened to Daniel, you know what I mean? Did Daniel and Ezra, literally help each other out with some of the writings? And when we get in the book of Daniel, is it possible that it's basically piecework the way, especially the way the book of Daniel was actually written? Did Ezra write Daniel? Because I never really said that Daniel possibly was the author of the book of Daniel. Because if you notice,
Mm,
he's not really prophesying in his book, but as people are misunderstanding that he was a prophet, no doubt. All would be a prophet if they professed into anything for the most high. But to turn around and say directly prophesizing something that pertained to our time and thereafter their time, that's reaching with no purpose. You know what I'm saying? Would
Right.
literally be no
Right.
purpose, especially if he was not actually prophesizing and he was maybe the one being prophesied to. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know a lot of people don't want to believe in the angel or man Gabriel. I get it. You know, the first time you hear of any angel by name is in Daniel, Michael, and Gabriel. But hey,
Uh,
he
seems far
wasn't there.
Right.
fetched.
He
It's like,
wasn't
was it
there.
really Gabriel or was it
Mhm.
Ezra talking to him or somebody?
Correct. I like that. But you know what? You make a post like this topic on there, it's gonna sit and it's gonna sit. Nobody's gonna touch it. They'll want to. They'll want to call you out, but they ain't gonna, because that's way above the time stretch. But it's a
Mm.
very, very good read, very interesting topic. That's why I was kind of like hoping somebody would have took on that statement you made with that Daniel thing.
Yeah, I was too.
But I should have known it wasn't that thing walked, boy. That thing walked. I might have been the only one that replied on it.
I'm gonna have to post it again one day.
That's how you gotta do it. Do like Alan used to do. You put it in his archive and save it for later and re-bring it back out.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
it'll still sit for a while. You gotta do it again.
Right.
Oh
About
yeah.
5 times.
Definitely. Definitely.
Hmm. But other than that, we did good for I say recap, end of the year recap, open discussion. If you guys want
Right.
to say a few words before we close out, like yours.
Okay. Well, I like to say Shabbat Shalom to all the people that are listening to our podcast, viewers, curiosity seekers, those in the gallery. Um, I appreciate all those that take part in the show, those who ask questions. I also, believe it or not, I want to thank you, Jarvis, for coming on the show. You bring a little spice to the show. Regardless if I don't agree with you, you bring a little spice. I hope you come back next week, spices it up. Drama always sells. Not that we're looking to sell anything, but you know, appreciate you coming too, buddy.
Mm.
And with that being said, shalom on my part.
Shalom. I'll say shalom to the chat. Much respect to you elders, and also respect to Hard Job. I don't want anybody to get me confused. That one thing about me is that I practice respecting all my elders. So as much respect to him, even though he's a little bit on the confused side of things. But Shabbat and maybe everybody be shalom.
Uh,
Nah, I like Jarvis though. He'll talk to me on the side as if I was like a Christian book Nicodemus, ask me some questions and stuff, and I'm there to answer.
Nicodemus.
But yeah, until he can get some time out, though, he's gonna always be on a sort of shaky mic. You know, be like I guess he's got to go to the closet or something like that to do his portion. But he's always welcome to bring some foolishness. Brother Ben, I said shout out to him. He had a busy week, so he couldn't attend tonight. He was very tired, and I understood that. You know, out in the land down under, they're not the same how we are in the United States, so their work habits may be quite different. You
okay.
know what I mean? Other than that, you know, Brother Great 202 says, Shalom, brothers. Y'all have a good week. And peace, Sister Jacqueline. And yes, Sister Jacqueline, thank you for coming out. You're always welcome to come on our show. You're welcome if you want to come on our show. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You give a lot of good advice in the gallery. But other than that, I'm going to say, till next time, next day 7, Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
Here's the juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give 'em wings, we red dot 'em. Candy rappers, send 'em in, we red hot 'em. Headshot 'em, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like why meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a